What is up, boys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Ron from Fantasy Flow. We took a little 1 week hiatus, man. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. It was Call of Duty, bro. I've been grinding those camos. Warzone dropped, dude. We took a little week off to de-stress, play some video games, and just have fun, man. And we are back now because we're trying to make a push to the playoffs. And I'm here now with this video. I'm going to be talking about players that I like and players that I dislike moving forward. So you can call it a panic list slash dudes I'm high on. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to call it. You'll see in the video, but in any case, man, I don't want to waste any more time. But before I hop into this video, dude, if you like it, if you get some value, I would super appreciate a like. It's the best way to show support. And if you want to catch more of my content, bro, if you're new here, hit me up with a subscribe. It's the best way to see my content as it drops. Notification bell, algorithm, all that cool stuff. And let's hop into this video, dude. So the first guy on this list is going to be DeAndre Swift, as you guys see here pulled up. DeAndre Swift is somebody that I'm a little bit worried about, man. And unfortunately, dude, like, I don't understand what the Bears are doing. I really don't understand their approach to the two running backs on their team. So we see that weeks 1 through 3, DeAndre Swift really struggled. So we can now retroactively see that they played against Tennessee, Houston, Indy. Indy, there's really no excuse, but Houston, pretty stout defense, right? Tennessee, they've always had a pretty decent run defense. I don't know how they are this season. They're kind of like middle of the pack, but that might explain that. And since then, he's been, in my opinion, usable. Even in the bad matchups against, New England, where he only gets 7 fantasy points. I mean, 70 fantasy points is not 3, right? It's not 2 fantasy points. It's not like what Jonathan Taylor just did to you. But DeAndre Swift gets so much more disrespected when he does underperform. Like, Jonathan Taylor will get you 3 fantasy points, but people will still be like, no, he's still a top 10 guy. DeAndre Swift, his worst game since week 4 has been 7, but everybody thinks he's the worst running back in the league. So, in any case, man, couple down weeks since week 8, 11, 7, 15, and 8. Week 11 against Green Bay, I will say, he got 15 fantasy points off of like a long touchdown run, which could really salvage his day yet again. Because, and as I mentioned, I don't know what the fuck the Bears are up to, dude. I don't know what their strategy is with these two running backs. DeAndre Swift, he's your dynamic, fast, pass-catching running back. Best served for like a, second and long, third and long type running back. He can also grind it between the tackles a little. It's like not his forte, but he can definitely do it a little bit, right? So Roschon Johnson, on the other hand, other side of the coin, he's slow, he's uninteresting, he's not dynamic, he's not great after the catch, yet they're using him as the third down back and the goal line back. Like, shouldn't he be like the early down guy, like the first down plotter who can get you like 3 or 4 yards, get you into like second and medium, and then, DeAndre Swift's the guy that you want in on third down because he can actually make stuff happen after the catch. I know it has to do with pass blocking, but the fucking Bears, dude, it just makes no sense to me. Like, all the high value touches, dude, fucking even hurry up offense goes to Roschon Johnson because supposedly he's a better pass blocker. But it's not like it matters anyway, dude. I've seen Roschon Johnson miss tons of blocks. I've seen him also be fucking dog shit after the catch. He'll like catch it and fall down instantly. And I don't know, if pass blocking is the only reason that the Bears are using Roschon Johnson, I feel like they're just suffering, dude. Because anytime he's on the field, it just leads to nothing, in my opinion. But this could be just major copium. I mean, make it fucking make sense, dude, as you see here. Swift has essentially been a curse because I had him as like a my guy before the season, and it's tough, right? Because he's, what is he, RB 18 on the season. Like, as a dead zone running back, I guess you're a little bit happy with, like, you're kind of okay with that. But the problem with Swift moving forward from here is that he has probably the toughest RB schedule. So we saw Minnesota in week 12 was like that first big test, like true, run stopping team. 8 fantasy points, not great. He does get vultured on the goal line by Roschon. If that touchdown would have went to Swift, you're talking about a 14, 15-point fantasy day. You're pretty happy with that, right? So that's really what it comes down to. He's got a tough schedule. He gets vultured in like any high-value touches, which is like goal line and hurry-up offense. That's where like running backs can really salvage their day. And he's getting all of that taken from him. So moving forward, man, I'm panicking on him. It's just, he brought us here. Like, if you have him, he's probably helped you be like in the top 5 in your league, right? Like, he's probably helped you out. But moving forward, he might hurt us, dude. He might hurt us bad. He might honestly lose us weeks. Like, if you have other options, I'd really consider it. We're going to move on now to Malik Nabers. So this dude also, essentially, it's sound the alarm moment Kind of. And what I mean by that is Malik Nabers obviously pops off to start the season, weeks 1 through 4, gets the concussion. And since then, it seems like he's forgotten anything. He's forgotten he doesn't know how to play football anymore. But that's what people would say. That's not what I would say. I think Malik Nabers still looks great on tape. He's still getting separation. He still looks good. He's just not getting the ball enough. He's not getting the ball enough in like high value areas. Like they're using him on like short yardage routes mostly. And that was with Daniel Jones. Now in week 12, we essentially see in the first and second quarter, in the first half, he gets 0 targets. So that was really brutal. I looked back at my phone like midway through the third quarter or midway through the fourth quarter, something, and I see he's got like 7 targets. I'm like, oh shit, nice. Like 6 for 64 after doing literally nothing in the first half. I think you're kind of happy with that. We're a little bit like, breath of or a sigh of relief after he finally does something, right? So moving forward, it looks like Tommy DeVito is going to continue starting. The Giants' game plan to me was just so sus, dude. Like the first half, it's like, all right, man, let's go down 30-0, and that's we got him right where we want him after that. Like why do teams play so conservatively? They play like I don't know, dude. Bad teams play horribly. Like it's one thing if you're a bad team and you have like a bad quarterback, a bad personnel group, but you do some creative stuff. That's one thing, right? Kind of like the Panthers. Like I would say the Panthers roster is probably, if it's not, it might not be worse, but it's on par, right? But they just look so much more serviceable, bro. They held in there with Kansas City. So Malik Nabers moving forward, like he's still going to get really nice volume. The reason I said it's not fully like sounding the alarms for Malik Nabers is that the coaching staff did say we're going to start building the offense around Malik Nabers moving forward. So that is something that we like to hear. He's still getting like crazy volume, right? Like I think since week 1, he never went under 8 targets. So the dude is just hyper targeted. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 3. His average depth of targeters, yards per target, is really low at the moment. If they can open it up a little bit and get him on those intermediate routes, I think it's going to be better. I think they're going to build the offense, and he's got a really good schedule looking forward. So I wouldn't be too panicked about him, but it is, it's a little bit unfortunate that he's not going to pan out to what we thought. And the next player on my list is a dude that you should fully panic about. Dude, the fucking common denominator between all these players is they're all players that I fucking have, dude. I have Swift, I have Nabers, and I have Jonathan Brooks. So I drafted this man with the expectation that he'd play week 1 or 2. Just at the time, he wasn't put on IR yet. A few days later, it's announced he's on IR. I'm like, fuck, so I'm not going to have him for 4 weeks. I better try to get Chuba. I don't get Chuba. Fucking sucks, man. They put him on IR, and not only that, they did say that he might not play for a while. They said, there was a time where they're like, it might be around week 6 that he'll be back. Then they pushed it to like week 8. Then they pushed it to week 10. Then they're like, we're going to wait through the bye. He ends up, they give that huge contract to Chuba because Chuba's been absolutely fantastic this season. And then Jonathan Brooks in his first game only gets fucking 2 carries for 7 yards. Literally, he's the backup, dude. He's essentially just a handcuff, and I think it's going to stay that way this season. It just sucks, man. They kept teasing us the entire fucking offseason with Brooks. Like, we should have known, dude. I'll eat a bag of shit on this one. Like, we should have known that when it was kind of ambiguous about when he'll play, we should have known that they're going to push him. And, like, why rush him back, right? Like, he's a high draft capital player on a team where they're not really going anywhere. They're going nowhere really fast. So it makes sense that they held him out. It makes sense that they're not going to give him a lot of work. The Chuba contract's very sus to me. They said it would be days. They said weeks, and then it turned into him not playing. And that's it for Brooks, bro. The next player on this list is going to be Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is the first guy that I'm actually excited about. So now we pivot over to players that I think have a nice prospect moving forward. And the fucking signals were there, dude. The alarms were sounded long ago with Jonnu Smith. We basically have to look at Jonnu Smith's involvement since week 5, but also week 2. So 7 targets in week 2, then 8 in week 5, 7, 6, 6, 4, 8, and 11, dude. So in week 11, he obviously gets that super pop-off game where he gets the 2 touchdowns. One of the touchdowns came on like a 50-yard broken play, just left wide open, and he busts it. So I wouldn't look too closely at that box score, but in week 12, we see like the prototypical Jonnu Smith game that I think we can expect moving forward. And that's 11 targets, 9 for 87, perfect type of safety valve, and then he gets into the end zone. So Waddle in the second or third round, that was the dog shit draft pick. I guess it was fucking Jonnu Smith, dude. Who knew he would turn into Tony Gonzalez out there? So he's the cheapest piece of the offense, and he might be the most consistent on top of that, dude. Like, he's just somebody who, he's a stable, short yardage, third down type dude, safety valve option for Tua, and Tua is actually using him in that way. So that's very important. I think his target share has also been insane. Like, I think he leads the team in fucking target share, which is insane. Like, he doesn't lead the team, but he's like in the top 3. And last week he did lead the team in target share. So, yeah, as I mentioned, he's that safety outlet moving forward. He's a threat to score a touchdown any given week. He's on a good offense that has turned a corner ever since Tua's come back. So he's somebody that if you'd have him, you should feel really nice about starting and moving forward. Next player on this list is going to be Bucky Irving. So Bucky Irving, if you followed this channel before the season, I was saying Bucky Irving is a late round target. He's a guy you need to have. I've made a living, dude. I've made a killing shitting on Rachaad White. I've hated Rachaad White in the offseason. His cost, he was like a second round pick for a guy who averaged like 2.8 yards per carry in his career. Rachaad White was somebody that we never thought was a good runner. We always knew that his value came from receiving. And we just knew that, Bucky Irving, who they draft from Oregon, who was very effective in college and has a good profile, he came in and he pretty much off-rip, dude. Like, week 1, he goes 9 for 62, shows explosion, and it's like, yep, it's Jover. It's absolutely Jover, dude. Like, replace Rachaad White with Kamala Harris right away, dude. And we saw this slow takeover. Bucky Irving, never really broke 50% of the snaps, never really outplayed Rachaad White from an opportunity point of view. Rachaad White was still getting more opportunities, more touches. But in week 12, after the bye, we see the post-bye week rookie bump. He goes 12 for 87. Also gets 6 motherfucking receptions, 6 targets for 64. I mean, he's a workhorse, right? That's, 18 touches, and he's super efficient and super good with the touches that he does get. So that's why you see the 24-point fantasy performance. He's officially RB2 with RB1 upside rest of the season. He's somebody that if your trade deadline hasn't passed, view him like a top 15 running back, if not top 10, dude. So if you could still buy him for like top 20 value, I would really try to do it. This is Jacob Gibbs here. He's RB5 out of 36 in yards per route run as a running back. So ahead of his teammate, Rachaad White, who's RB9 in that same category. Irving had 712 receiving yards across his final 2 collegiate seasons, so he proved in college that he can be a receiving back. So Bucky Irving, dude, it's wheels up. It's you should feel really nice. Like, league winner is a term often thrown around, but I do think he's a genuine league winner, considering where you drafted him and considering the fact that their schedule is very juicy looking forward. They got Carolina, Vegas. The Chargers is a tough one, but then they get Dallas in week 16. So good schedule. He's taken over the short yardage role or the early down role. He's also getting receiving work on a good offense where Baker's honestly looking like fucking Joe Montana. So, yeah, man. Next player is going to be TJ Hockenson. Damn, dude. Dude's coming off an ACL injury. We see a little bit of a ramp up in his first week back against Indianapolis. Only plays 45% of the snaps. Still gets 4 targets, which is like great signal. So if you would have bought him low there, that's a very smart move. Then he goes 9 targets, 8 for 72 in his second week. It's like, all right, he's back, dude. A little bit of a down week in week 11, not very involved. Only 3 targets, 2 for 13 in that game. But then we see the explosion in week 12 against Chicago, a very stout defense. Maybe that's why he exploded. Chicago was really throwing like a double coverage on Justin Jefferson most of the game. So TJ Hockenson pops off. He goes 9 targets, 7 for 114. Looks great. Josh Oliver, the other tight end, was out. So maybe that's why TJ Hockenson was also very involved. The thing is, his air yardage has been really good. So 9 targets in week 12 puts him at a 28% target share for a tight end. Those are wide receiver numbers. And 96 air yards, right? So he's not just this fucking short yardage, like safety valve type guy. He's getting like down the field stuff. So with an offense like the Vikings, who are a very strong offense, it's offense that you want pieces of. I think TJ Hockenson is going to be a league winner moving forward, which fucking pisses me off because I don't have him anywhere. And the next player, this guy's a bonus. I won't tell you if he's a sell, if he's a panic player, if he's somebody I'm excited about, but it's Deebo Samuel, man. So Deebo Samuel, if you have him, I don't need to tell you how his season has gone. It's been very inconsistent though. He either looks great and is like a top 15 wide receiver, or he's fucking unusable, dude, unstartable, and he loses you the week. In the past couple weeks, he's been just that. He's been unusable. He's lost you the week, and there's a few things I need to say about that, right? So Seahawks secondary in week 11, Deebo Samuel's not a good route runner. He doesn't get a lot of separation. Seahawks have great cornerbacks, dude, like probably the best secondary in the NFL. Maybe not statistically, but they're a really good secondary. So is that why he played like shit? I don't know. But then in week 12, no Brock Purdy. You might be able to give him a pass. There were a couple big moments where he could have made big plays, but he ends up like the ball goes through his hands and it gets picked off. So that's really bad. He's getting kind of roasted by everyone on Twitter at the moment. A lot of people are saying he looks old, slow, fat, and uninterested. Like he just doesn't look good on tape. I think the jury is still out on that. I think it's rough when you get kind of thrown into like a wide receiver 1A role or 1B, whatever you want to call him, with Juwan Jennings on the other side. And it's not really like the role that he's been good at. He's kind of more like a gadget type player. Think of like a Jaden Reed, but maybe a worse route runner. He's got worse hands, obviously. But he's a little bit more dynamic and explosive with the ball in his hands. So I don't know. That's a weird comparison. I guess they have nothing in common. But the way they're used is kind of similar. But yeah, man, does all this shit talk, all this Twitter beef, does it light a fire under him? Does he actually want to prove them wrong? Probably not. Is he still a vital part of this offense and the offense is built around him? Also probably not. Am I coping hard after trading for him and getting flamed by my league mates and I'm now trying to prove that he's actually valuable? Yes, probably yes. So I don't know, man. In all seriousness, I think better days are ahead. I think they're going to be fighting to potentially make the playoffs. They can really only lose one more game, I think this Buffalo game is going to be a loss for them. Now, here's the thing. If they get Purdy back, if they get Bosa back, if they get Trent Williams, one of their offensive linemen, back, they can beat Buffalo. Like, the Niners are still a good team. They're well coached. They have a lot of talent on their team. Obviously, CMC's needed a little bit of a ramp up, it seems. It doesn't quite look like the typical CMC. So, I don't know. The Niners could make a little run here, dude. Like, other than the Buffalo game, I think they can win out pretty much every game. They've got, Chicago, Rams, Miami, and I cut it off here. I don't know who they play in Week 17, but any game is winnable, right? Like, I think the next game against Buffalo is like the first time they've been an underdog in like 40 games or something, or like 36 games. Or it might have been the Green Bay game that they were the first time they were an underdog, which would make sense, right? They didn't have Purdy. So, yeah, man, I think moving forward, they kind of have to play perfect to make the playoffs. And if they do, Deebo Samuel will have to be a big part of that. They're not going to go away from him, right? Like, he might have had like a rough game or a rough couple games, but he's still very dynamic after the catch. So he's somebody that, fuck, dude, I'm coping right now. I traded for him, so I think he's going to be better. I hope he's going to be better. If you have Deebo Samuel and you're hoping for the same thing, man, fucking let me know down in the comments if me and you are in this together, and we will both we'll both eat a bag of shit when he ends up being horrible the rest of the season, but we'll do it together, man. But that wraps it up for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you liked it. If you did, I would super appreciate a like. And as I mentioned, dude, hit me up with a subscribe if you're new here if you want to catch more of my content moving forward. But that does it for this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.